Well, now we're ready to move out with the Nomen as they make a sneak approach on the Sorais, hoping to attack them without them knowing. We now continue with chapter 23, and Nursite is still our storyteller. Along with the other young warriors, I was assigned to accompany those in back of the line. Though Nether glided along quietly in front of me, I felt lonely. I guess I missed the bawdy talk of Needle Eye, who was intent on going on this trek. But Nark-Nose was not one to be fooled by wheezy talk. Needle Eye had wounds more serious than he let on, so he stayed behind. "It's been a long time since we've been in this part of the woods. Nursite?" The tone of Nether's voice betrayed awareness of my gloomy mood. "Huh?" I looked around at the thickening underbrush and the night-like darkness. A dark green cavern. "Oh, yeah. Can't remember how long. Guess we didn't care about the creepiness of this place back then." "Care about it? We were thrilled by it. Used to get us scared silly." She giggled and moved on back to walk by my side. And enjoyed every horrible minute of it. I smiled in spite of myself. "Hey, you two, quit slowing up the progress," a voice called out, admonishing us good-naturedly. Another voice, "Shut up. Don't you know this is a picnic? Those Sorais won't put up a fight. Today they run." General laughter and cheering followed. Nether moved to her original position in front of me. But soon all chatter and laughter was snuffed out like a sunflower oil lamp in a great wind. We entered the Narrow. Even the sound of our walking feet was frightened into muteness. Only the bashful light flickering from a few handheld beeswax candles helped us find our way past the massive bellies of the tree. Between those trees there was not much room for more than a Nomen child to pass. The only way for people to pass through was a winding path that required even Nether to walk slightly sideways. Men of broad beam had squeezing to do as they worked toward an unseen destination. Some of the old ones said that this was once a solid forest, but through the good sense and creative chance of an ancient Nomen known as Noah, a path was relinquished by the giant trees. If Nomen would ever forget their ways of the incense and give up the forest to the nature benders and abusers such as the Sorais, the Narrow would cease to exist like a healed wound. Perhaps a way to the eternal lay along this path, and unworthies were to be shut out. Of course, we could imagine little of the eternal. I could now see the end of the path as a slender slot of light appeared. Blue meadow, a room defined by the thick tree walls on three sides, arching to a sparse overhang, allowing some indirect sunlight. On the fourth side was a sheer granite wall announcing the Tomei steeples towering above, arched to the north and south. But that was ignored as a thick carpet of blue asters blazed up at us, singing loudly with a melody of scent. The blueness was overwhelming after passing through the black velvet of the Narrow. Most everyone took to lying on the ground, glad to be alive after the indulgence of the Narrow. Nether I gathered a few asters. "Here, Nether, give me some of your flowers," I said, taking a handful from her. "What for? I never knew you to be particularly in love with flowers." "Oh, I don't know. They just seem to be begging me to put them in your hair so they can see things from a little higher up. Besides, what better way for a flower to sacrifice itself?" She was embarrassed by my words. I should have been too, but getting out of the Narrow made one feel giddy. As I put flour in her tresses, I could hear muffled giggles from some of the others, especially guys my age. There was no being nice to a girl without their stupidity flaring up. "All right, enough of the breathing easy. We've got a battle today." Nark-Nose was being gruff. "I think your attitude's all wrong. If we fall on our butts today, it'll be because of your carrying on. Yeah, we know what's coming, I could hear Nola muttering under her breath. We moved on due north. The blue meadow, indeed the no-wood, played out quickly as we inched across the dry foothills of the steeples. Long hours stretched into thin spiderwebs as we walked and struggled to avoid falling down the sandy slopes to seared meadow. We then turned west. We were beyond anyone's sight from the valle, and even if they did see us, it would appear we were leaving the area, not intending to circle around to advance southeastward at the Sorai's. All I knew was the scent of dust mixed with our incense. Everything was hazy about me. Gray steeples perched above my left, and a green sea of grassland swept to my right. The afternoon had grown old by the time we reached the flat place. The steeples reduced to sulking sandhills. The no-wood was fading to a scattering of scrub oak. A few tall trees were immediately ahead of us, and to our right and left. Unbelievably, the trees jiggled while moving toward us, raising their branches. Sorais! Although I might have the excuse of nearsightedness, our entire group didn't see them until it was too late. There was great confusion, and many gnomon were knocked down in their tracks as they scampered for position. I was knocked around by my own people and eventually fell into the dust, getting a nasty mouthful of dirt. "Fight, you fools, fight!" Nartnose bellowed, screamed, and cursed, but it was all too fast. "Damn it, by the wood, advance! Cut 'em down! Go for their knees, you damned—" It was no good. Gnomon whizzed by my prone body. It was an all-out retreat. No regrets, no cowardice. It was the only thing we could do with any semblance of togetherness. I stood up and glanced about wildly, sniffing fiercely. A torrent of significance, dirt, sweat, and the goat smell of the Sorai's bore down on me. I couldn't catch the wild rose scent. Nether air! At that moment, I thought I caught her scent behind me. As I turned, a bolt of white-hot light struck my neck. Without even falling to my knees, I ran, hoping the Sorai's shaft wouldn't catch me again. In front of me, the blurred backs of gnomon jumped and shook, but I ran on and on, the wild rose strong in my nostrils. Seeing the golden highlights of her hair ahead, I gained heart and ran on. Along the edge of the foothills, every 2 steps was a slide, followed by a struggle to get upright and keep up the pace. I grabbed Netherer's arm several times and drug her until she regained her footing. Once I rolled down the hill, but I kept going south and worked my way back up to the path with everyone else. And constantly, behind us, was the clanging of bells and stench of desert-burned skin. We swooped down to the blue meadow. Once into the narrow, we could block the entrance and fight back the Sorai's until their stinking bodies clogged the way. The blue meadow didn't have a chance to warn us. With a bright red crest erect on his bald head, displaying his excited state, a Sorai leapt from the narrow. Behind him another appeared. Like an evil oven spitting out fire, flame after flame they popped out. We attacked, but only 2 or 3 gnomon could approach the narrow and reach the single Sorai at its mouth. As the Sorais leapt out, one moved first to the left, and then the next one leapt, that one darted to the right. It became harder to get near the narrow, since Sorais were attacking from right and left. We turned to go back to the north. We had forgotten. The towering battalion that had chased us entered Blue Meadow. We were surrounded. "Storm them! Hammer their toes!" Nartnose screamed, almost choking with a sob. We stopped, standing still and silent. We surrendered without a word. Oh man, not so good. See you next time for chapter 24. Bye.